Hello, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to another session in our talk series brought to you by the College of International Education, Hong Kong Baptist University. My name is Dixon Zhang, the Academic Coordinator of Cultural Studies, and later on you will also meet Ms. Carol Zhang, the Academic Coordinator of Professional Communication and English Studies. So yes, today we are bringing you two very exciting concentration studies, major studies, and you will certainly find them very interesting. So to begin with, let me tell you something about cultural studies. So what is cultural studies? Now, one way that you can certainly find out more about our cultural studies is certainly to like and follow our social media, and up there in Instagram and Facebook you will see daily updates, and on the post and also the engagement with other programs and other universities, you would find out more about what students do here at our cultural studies program. So yeah, please make good use of this QR code, or you can simply search us on Instagram or Facebook, cie.culs, and to find out more. Now, today I've prepared 3 courses to show you and to give you a taste of what cultural studies is all about. By looking at what questions we ask in our courses, you will have a very good idea that these topics of discussion and investigation are indeed very attractive. Like for example, if you join us in the first semester, you would study this course, Myth and Fantasy. The one major question that this course asks is, do we always tell the same story over and over again, probably without knowing it? So by looking at Greek mythology or other mythologies, especially in Asia, we will also look at popular culture like mainstream movies. Do they share any elements in common? Are they universal? Is there any structure? But if there is, isn't it a bit strange that we like listening to the same story over and over again, like bedtime stories for a child? So like on this slide, you see one text, not the only one of course, that you will investigate if you study this course at Cultural Studies, and that is the Alien franchise. It started in 1979, and of course you would notice that, well, 1979 feels like another lifetime, so long ago, but still you would see that every now and then, almost every other year, there will be a new installment coming out. Yeah, and directed by different directors. So now, by looking at Alien Covenant, for example, the most recent installment, we can look at the structure of this horror film, this sci-fi horror. Don't you think that they all look very similar? Like every time we watch Alien, we expect the same thing to happen, and if they don't give that to us, we would be actually upset. So how would that be? Now that would be a very exciting thing to investigate. Other than the narrative, the storytelling, on this slide you can also see the aesthetic of horror. Like things that we find horrible. Can we find some references or origins? Where do the ideas come from? Like for example, I would invite you to Google this guy, a Polish artist, Belczynski, and also of course H.R. Giger. They influence the image of horror in the Alien franchise a great deal. And also last year there was a video game that's called Scorn, and the aesthetics, they all come from the very similar sources. Yeah, so if you join us and do this course, this would be a very exciting thing that you will come across in the first semester. And another example that I would like to show you is Hong Kong mainstream culture. Now in this particular course, we would look at a lot of Hong Kong movies and also literature in both Chinese and English. And yes, there is Hong Kong literature in English. And like on this slide, now for films, we'll be looking at Hong Kong gangster films or triad films, 黑社會電影, yeah? And what's the point? Am I trying to say that the entire Hong Kong is gangland? Of course no, 香港唔係黑社會, yeah? But then by looking at gangster films since the beginning of Hong Kong cinema, the heydays in the 80s, we can actually tease out, we can actually find out how people think about themselves before 1997 and all the way after 1997. The best way to anticipate and plan ahead is to know about our past. And by looking at these films, I will show you how people understood themselves in the past in Hong Kong. And of course, not just Zhang Hu films or gangster films. There is also, of course, Wong Kar-wai, and we'll be looking at his first film until his most recent film, which was Wong Gok Ka-mun as Tears Go By in 1989, all the way up to the most recent one, The Grandmaster, 一代宗師. Does he want to say something about Hong Kong? Obviously he does, yeah? And we'll be looking at these films and tease out how Hong Kong people think about themselves. Another film, the last that I would like to introduce to you today, of course, yeah, the third one, but we offer 5 courses, and this is the third I would like to talk to you about today. It's Media and Society. One simple question. How is meaning constructed and consumed? Now that would be the one major question that runs through the entire course. By looking at different media, social media or other platforms such as YouTube channels, or many other platforms on the internet, and also other TV platforms, etc., and how they are related to society. One very simple example you can see on this slide. At the bottom you see Botticelli, of course, the very famous painting Birth of Venus. Now how was that transformed into something empowering to the powerless in the Adidas commercial Original is Never Finished in 2017. That TV campaign was very successful, done by a New York-based PR firm in 2017 and won major awards around the world. And you will see amazing references to many different texts in culture and how they can be reused and rejuvenated and become something empowering for people who can buy Adidas as a product. So yeah, now these are 3 exciting courses, and of course not the only 3. We also offer many other courses if you join us at Cultural Studies. So now, what do we do then outside of classroom? I've been going on and on for a bit about what takes place inside the classroom. How about outside the classroom? And congratulations! In September this year, we are resuming physical class in full swing, and we would also be using Zoom at the same time, but then we will be able to meet each other in the flesh, and we'll be able to do so much more than before. So we'll be going around town visiting museums, art galleries of course, and other artistically related workshops. And academically, we would also join other programs in other universities and exchange views from people of the like mind, people who like similar things like yourselves. And we have student seminars, both local and abroad. Like in January this year, we had a very successful Zoom International Student Conference with the Kemep University in Kazakhstan. And the students were really excited to be able to engage and discuss with students from Kazakhstan about media and language. And of course, this activity is not just for cultural studies, it's also for any other students with us at the CIE, the College of International Education, and you'll be able to engage with people who like very similar things. And this one, of course, now it's a publication opportunity for you. And we have this running for 7 years, and strictly speaking, actually 9 years. A very successful annual student publication that is called This and That. And we accept essays, short stories, and poems from anyone at the CIE, and also students from cultural studies, and also a moment later you will meet the representatives from professional communication and English studies, and we will all engage not just in the editing work but also in the vetting process and also the design process. And of course, I must really emphasize that this amazing cover design is done by our artist in residence and also lecturer, Ms. Carol Chang, whom you will meet in a moment. Yes, really amazing design. This one, by the way, is coming out in 2 weeks, so stay tuned. Now, other than, so much about associate degree for the first 2 years. So after the first 2 years, when do I get a bachelor degree? Yes, you need to finish year 3 and 4, and then you would finish a complete 4-year bachelor degree. There are plenty of options. We have our very good self-funded program run by the Department of Humanities and Creative Writing that is called CSCI, Cultural Studies and Creative Industries. Yeah? And also there are other UGC programs that you can articulate to. According to our track records, our successful students would go to, for example, the Philosophy Department at HKBU, Department of Humanities and Creative Writing at HKBU, and also AVA, the Academy of Visual Arts, or other universities such as Lakeland University, the very famous Cultural Studies Department, and also education universities, and of course, last but not least, the Hong Kong U and also the Chinese University. So plenty of opportunities. Once you've joined us, you warm up your program, you would find that year 3 and 4 will be very exciting for you. Okay, so yeah, now this would be my part about cultural studies. Now, for more information, don't wait and please use the QR code or simply search on Instagram or Facebook CIE.culs to find out more about our program. Go through our posts and you will find a lot of interesting information there. And of course, like I said earlier, today I'm not alone. I'll be joined by the Academic Coordinator of Professional Communication and English Studies, in short PENG, P-E-N-G. And please welcome Ms. Carol Chang.
Thank you, Dixon, for the exciting course information. And my name is Ms. Carol Chang. I am the course coordinator of the academic coordinator of Professional Communication and English Studies, known as PENG in CIE, College of International Education. In Hong Kong today, in fact, most employers, they look for job applicants with a high standard of English level proficiency, and most of them believe that job applicants who possess this would be more capable at their work. Why? Why do they think so? First of all, job applicants with a high level of English proficiency, they would be capable at different industries. For example, in the creative industries, marketing, media, advertising, including education, which is among the most popular ones in our cohorts of students. And also for employers, they tend to believe that students with a high level of English would be more capable at work. Why? Because they tend to be able to listen to their clients' needs, and also they can communicate more effectively, and also not only externally but also internally with their colleagues. They can work well and cooperate well with their internal office. So most of them would like to and prefer graduates with English abilities which are higher than the others. And because of that, so you may ask a question, so why would you want to come to CIE? Why do you have to study our PENG program in CIE? So my answer is our course program structure. So if you look at our program structure, our program comprises 3 different subject areas, and they are, if you look at the table here, you'll find 3 different columns. So the very first one is professional communication. I would like to highlight this particular column because traditionally speaking, for most of the English language programs in the market, a traditional approach would be they focus more on linguistics and also literature courses, but they may not introduce students to different skills in communication and also professional settings. In this relation, we are trying to provide more options to our current students if they don't want to limit themselves to a teaching career, say for example, even though being a teacher is the aspiration, a very popular aspiration among the current cohorts of students, but in case you don't want to limit yourself, say I'm still exploring different options, I have not made up my mind yet, then professional communication, this course area will definitely benefit most of the students, because you will definitely, if you go out to work, you definitely have to learn the language related to business English communication skills, and you'll definitely find that useful, no matter speaking, writing, and so on. And if you would like to enter the field of public relations, advertising, then you will need the skills for professional English for media, the skills covered in that particular course. So this will, like what I've said, give you more options. Even if you haven't made up your mind yet, you don't have a very concrete plan for your future, then these courses will still be an advantage for you guys. And then in the green column, we have the linguistics courses. This column, the 2 courses are made compulsory, as well as the 3 courses under professional communication, because they are our core courses. And for linguistics, these 2 courses, first of all, do you know what linguistics stand for? Because this is actually an area that you may not have any experience, or you may not even have heard of this term before in your secondary school. So linguistics means and refers to a systematic study of language and also its structure. For example, grammar is one of them, and also syntax and phonetics. So we do have the first course, the first bullet, contemporary English grammar under linguistics. And also fundamentals of linguistics will be an introductory course to linguistics, which will be introduced to different branches of linguistics. So these are highly important if you aspire a teaching career, because you can imagine that most of the time you have to explain grammar with your students, and also you have to learn more about how students, for example, acquire English as a secondary language and so on. And then we also have the blue column, which is literature and culture. For the courses listed in this blue column, they are all electives. So we do understand that some students may have the fear for literature courses. They may imagine, Shakespeare, poems, plays, in the kind of English that they can hardly comprehend. But don't worry, we will start from the basic, and we totally understand that the students in secondary schools now, they may not have any experience studying poetry or short stories, literature, and so on. So we will start from the basics. And also we take on a softer approach, a more fun approach to learn literature and culture. So that's why if you look at the course titles, they are more fun, like the last one, The Language of Modern Theatre, which I will show you more of the key topics of this course in the later slide. So you'll learn more about plays, drama, and also in the other course, understanding visual culture. You will be introduced to some cultural theories related to arts, and also exploring English cinema. You try to learn cultural theories and also analyze texts, including films, of course, by looking at different films. And also the first one, creative English writing, you'll learn to write poems and also short stories. Now, we highly recommend you to choose 3 out of the 4 courses listed here, because they are electives. But in case you don't want to study any literature courses, we also provide a list of options, which are all communication and business courses, which may be and should be very helpful if you aspire a career in the corporates and also in the business field. In the following, I would also like to highlight 3 popular courses in our program. So the very first one is it's solely a speaking course, but this speaking course is very different from the one or the kind of speaking that you have been learning in your secondary school. So in this particular course, you have to learn the first one, elevator pitch. This is an exciting experience for most of the Year 1 students when they kickstart their school in CIE, because they will have to stand in front of everyone to give a very condensed power pitch to sell their business idea or themselves maybe in a admission interview. So they will be trained and equipped with skills to make a very short but also up to the point speech, especially persuasive one, to convince the target audience. So the word elevator comes from a scenario which the presenter bumped into a potential investor inside an elevator. So that's why you have limited time to convince the target audience. Yeah, and also apart from that, the meeting, language, and skills you need for the workplace will be included, and also as well as negotiation for agreement. Negotiation, okay, you will definitely find it very helpful, especially you are fresh graduates. Okay, fresh graduates, you will still have to negotiate terms and even salary in your first job, right? So you'll definitely find it very useful. We'll learn about some of the key skills, yeah, and the art, okay, of negotiation. And then we have come to the linguistics introductory course. So again, you'll find a lot of bullets with terms that you will find very unfamiliar with. So fear not. In fact, they are quite fun. For example, the very last one, world Englishes. Yeah. So Englishes. So it means that we have types of English, right? Yeah. So what does it mean? Yeah, because we're going to study and learn about the different varieties of English, okay, in our world, including British English and also American English. We'll try to compare them as well. Yeah, so I think quite a lot of students will be interested in this particular one. And also social linguistics, in particular, you'll learn how our current English, okay, has been affected by social norms, cultural norms, values, contexts, and so on in our society. Yeah, and also for the others, our teachers will try to explain every of the terms here to you one by one in detail later, I'm sure, in the course. So I'll skip them for now, but they may not appear as daunting as you can imagine. They can be quite fun. And also the last one, okay, the last one, it's the language of modern theater. This is a fun course, definitely, because it's going to be very practical. You see the word acting, yeah, so you really will be given the chance to act out a scene of a particular play. Yeah, so definitely you have to step out of your comfort zone. Okay, you are not going to study only, to analyze the text only, but also to act out. Yeah, and also we'll explore one fun topic. The topic is theater of the absurd in this course. So what does it mean? In fact, theater of the absurd would be about the purposelessness of our life. Yeah, so this is actually one of the genre between the 50s and also 60s. Yeah, and also you will try to analyze the text in this particular genre. And then, okay, about articulation. So we know that students are very, very concerned about the articulation opportunities of the program. Since paying our course is still considered new, so while we're waiting for the confirmed track record for our very first cohort of students this year, I can still give you a list of opportunities, a list of opportunities, a list of programs that would be suitable for your future academic development. So among our current cohort of students, in fact, most of them are interested in English language courses mainly, and also some of them are going to translation programs, and also some of them are interested in bilingual language programs as well. Yeah, so it really depends on your own interest. So right now, okay, we are still very happy to have students receiving offers from non-UGC and also UGC-funded language programs. So we'll give you the updates after this particular summer. Yeah. And if you would like to have more information about our program and also updates, activities, please follow us on Instagram. You can follow us at cie.pang. Yeah, so moving on, we are going to have a chat with our student representatives coming from professional communication and English studies and also cultural studies.
So welcome to the third part of our information talk today. So today we're really happy to have two students with us, and they are going to tell us what they think about what life is like as a student at HKBU CIE. So on my left, we have Miss Mandy Tong, and she is a cultural studies second year student, and now she's moving on to the UGC program, HKBU Humanities, to finish her year 3 and 4. And also we have Mr. Noor Saeed, year 2 students of the Professional Communication and English Studies program PANG, and he's also moving on to a UGC program at City University. So welcome both. Yeah, it's really excited to have you. So maybe to start with, can you share with us why in the first place 2 years ago, finishing the SE, why did you choose the program that you have chosen at CIE? Maybe we can begin with Mandy.
I chose to study in cultural studies in CIE because I can learn culture through different aspects in cultural studies, and I learned how to analyze different cultural issues and in cultural studies and develop my own thoughts towards the issues, which enhance my critical thinking skills. And the course, Hong Kong mainstream culture, like mentioned before, I love it very much because I can learn how the Hong Kong identity changing in the different Hong Kong cultural issues. And also, one of my favorite themes is Chongqing Express. I love how Chongqing Express present Hong Kong identity in the handover period. By applying David Harvey's time-space compression, the places in Chongqing Express are being compressed into one Hong Kong, and the places like Central Escalator, Midnight Express, or Gaham Street Market, they are being interconnected and like no distance between. And also, the characters in Chongqing Express also presented how Hong Kong people being lost and facing the memories in the changing Hong Kong. Time and spaces are being compressed under the capitalist society, and therefore, we can learn how to analyze the distance between Hong Kong people, places, and space in Chongqing Express in this course. Time and space in a particular period understanding formed the Hong Kong identity and being an important part of the Hong Kong culture. Therefore, I love how cultural studies give us a chance to understanding different cultural signs and codes that therefore I can learn culture and explore culture in a new angle that I didn't know before.
Yeah, indeed. Wong Kar-wai's films, his sense of space and time, it's really, really interesting to show something about Hong Kong. So how about Noor? Can you tell us?
Yeah, sure. So 2 years ago when I was searching for programs to study, I came across this program called Professional Communication and All Studies. So when I came across this program, the most appealing factor was that we could study 3 areas, which included professional communication, literature, and linguistics. So this was really appealing to me because at that time I wasn't sure the future path I was going to take. So by studying these 3 areas, I could decide where I want to go in the future. So I could either become an English teacher or I can work in a business setting. So this was the most appealing factor for me to choose this program. And apart from this, it's also a new program. So I think that the content taught in this program is really up to date when compared to other programs in Hong Kong. So these are the two major reasons why I chose this program in the first place.
All right, then it will now come to the second question. So we have talked about your past experience. So now it's past, right? Yeah. And how about in the future? So after you have studied the courses in CIE, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Maybe I answer this question in Chinese. 我覺得5年之後咧，我就會喺我感興趣嘅領域工作啦，所以我可能會喺創意文化產業嗰度工作，成為一位香港文學雜誌嘅編輯。因為其實喺學習咗文化研究之後咧，我都了解到更多關於香港文化嘅發展啦，亦都覺得其實香港本土文化好值得去探究，多咗去了解香港唔同嘅文藝活動同埋展覽嘅。咁香港可能會被標籤為文化沙漠啦，但係其實我哋學習咗文化研究，就好似佢嘅標題咁樣文化啦，我哋就會了解多咗關於香港嘅主流文化同埋非主流文化，咁就了解多咗香港喺唔同文化上面有咩意義啊，或者係去解釋唔同香港嘅文化啦，亦都係有多咗本身去了解香港一啲唔同關於文學方面嘅一啲雜誌同埋編輯啦，所以就希望畢業之後咧都可以加入佢哋去為香港嘅文化發展出一分力啦。咁喺香港浸會大學持續學院都有加入咗呢個文化及文學學部嘅 This and That 學生編輯委員會啦，咁參加咗一啲出版同埋編輯嘅工作。咁喺了解到更多編輯嘅工作之後咧，亦都對出版嘅行業產生咗興趣，所以希望畢業之後咧都可以加入其中啦，為香港嘅文化發展去出一分力啦，令到更多人去了解同埋關注香港嘅本土文化嘅。
冇錯啦 ，This and That 呢個學生嘅刊物係一個非常之好嘅經驗俾同學可以去。有2年，其實有2個嘅 issue， 有2期學生唔單止淨係文化研究，仲有係專業英語研究嘅學生咧，都可以去參與而得到一啲非常之寶貴嘅經驗嘅。Then back to you, Nu.
Yeah. So in the next 5 years, I hope to become an English teacher in secondary school. So growing up, I always wanted to become an English teacher because I really think that teaching English is what I'm particularly good at. So I think that I can use this advantage to make it my future career opportunity. So in the first place, I chose this program to align with my career goals. Particularly in this course, there are 2 programs called Fundamental of Linguistics and Contemporary English Grammar that can help me in my future goal. So these programs teach how English language works, and it really goes deeper into how different grammar and syntax works. So I think that this program can really help me reach my future goals, which is to become a secondary school teacher in Hong Kong. So yeah, therefore, in the next 5 years, I hope to become a secondary school teacher in Hong Kong.
All right, so I'm glad to hear, and maybe in the future we'll meet each other and try to have some kind of academic exchange as a teacher. All right, so time is short and we are actually running behind schedule for a bit. So now we are still moving on to the very last section, which is the Q&A section. So if you have any questions for us, please don't go, okay? Please stay until the end. So you can type up your questions and we will attend to your questions in no time.
Okay, we'll be back in 2 seconds. So now time to answer your questions, and like just now, this part is going to be done bilingually. 呢一部分我哋會用英文同埋廣東話去回答嘅。咁所以如果你有問題嘅話，就唔好等啦。咁你可以直接打中文或者英文，咁我哋就會回答你嘅問題嘅。So yeah, let's look at some of these questions.
Questions, yes. Let's see. Shall we pick?
Yeah, this one is fun. This one is very important.
Okay, yeah. So this question is by Sing. The question is, I am a non-Chinese speaking HKDSE candidate. I did not take Chinese in Hong Kong DSE. Am I able to use any subject to replace the Chinese subject? All right, so yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So some of our students, they did not take any Chinese in Hong Kong DSE. So as a replacement, they can also offer other qualifications. For example, there are 3 of them. The first one is if you have a grade E or above in GCE, A or AS level Chinese, then it can be deemed as a replacement, or a grade C or above in GCSE or IGCSE or GCE O level Chinese, or the very last one, at attain level or above in applied learning Chinese, in short APLC. Yeah, so all of these public exam qualifications will be considered as a official replacement for your Chinese HKDSE.
Yeah, and not just for professional communication and English studies, it's also for cultural studies. So all of our courses are conducted in English. Now, but of course, yeah, we would welcome discussion and questions in Cantonese and Chinese as well. So don't worry, language shouldn't be a problem, and great opportunities for you to improve your English skills as well. Now let's look at 下一題。
Which one should we pick?
This one is nice by Nicholas Lau. Are there any experiential learning opportunities offered by PANG, Professional Communication and English Studies? And I'll also talk about cultural studies.
Right. For experiential learning opportunities, so just as you have listened, we actually provide the this and that editorial editorial board as a kind of experiential learning experience. It's because students would be introduced and also they will have hands-on tasks to edit the work submitted by their fellow students. At the same time, they can also choose to be the contributors. If they don't want to be the editors, they can also contribute their works. So from this experience, they get to know more about the flow in publishing, and also they may find an interest in publishing as well. And apart from that, we also offer internship opportunities, but for PANG, we're still in liaison with a particular internship opportunities, but this opportunities is about copywriting. We haven't decided the details yet, so yeah, but we're in the middle of something. Yeah, how about cultural studies? I know that you have some internship opportunities provided to your students.
Yeah, 我哋文化研究嘅學生咧都會有機會去其他嘅院校、其他嘅學院其他嘅 program 咧可以做到呢個研究助理嘅工作，去處理一啲研究嘅資料咁樣嘅。咁所以咧除咗呢樣之外咧，我哋都會為大家去介紹香港有好多同文藝創作有關嘅實習機會啦。咁所以咧你嘅暑假咧都係應該會非常之精彩嘅。
We also plan to pay visits to some arts and cultural events 1 year ago, but unfortunately they were cancelled because of COVID-19. I'm sure this also happened to cultural study. Hopefully, in the coming year, students would be able to get out of this campus and also to resume this kind of experiential learning activities.
Yeah, quite sure by September we'll be going around town quite a bit, and we try to stay safe and still make it work in real life and really move around town outside of the campus. Okay?
All right, so now it's about time for us to end our live today. So if you're interested in more information of our other programs, please also sign up the live talk for the coming week. So right now, we'll have to say goodbye to all of you who are watching. So goodbye.
And also, don't forget our IG. If you have any question, you can go to HKBU CIE, and there's that Ask button for us, and that's actually a link that goes directly to us. That you can ask us any questions. Or of course, IG, and please do try and look for us. And you can also, of course, DM us there. Ask us anything. So there are many different platforms that you can reach out to us. So hopefully, 希望大家enjoy the past half an hour with us. And yes,
Thank
goodbye
you.
everyone.